45, take 1.
Slate 9, take 1.
Select 36, take 1.
Nine was an interesting one because we actually reveal both our aliens, so good and bad aliens.
Yeah.
And actually have to credit our third writer, Chris Marshfield, for coming up with the idea that, you know, I remember him coming in because we used to live in a house together, and I remember him coming to me at one point and going, this is a bonkers idea. What if the gas is the aliens?
Yeah.
Which it sort of is a spoiler that we didn't know what that gas was at the end of season 1. But again, it's that thing of, well, everyone's going to assume that's a threat, that it's poison or something. And we actually talked about an idea of maybe it's just making the atmosphere safe to breathe for them. But we thought, wouldn't it be fun if it was actually a good thing? Like it's here to help. And also I just love the idea that it's like these aliens are so advanced, they don't even have a human form anymore. And there's a throwaway line in 3 where Edward Coleridge says you weren't supposed to meet them yet. So it sort of implies that they go and help, you know, other planets with this technology. But that's not something they were due to do on Earth yet, but had to come there early to warn us about these other aliens. But then obviously you still want to see something physical, so that's when we got to do the other alien, the evil aliens, which was played by Emily Haig, and that was very much a challenge for effects reasons.
Yeah, it was. It was very big challenge. In fact, there was 9. I wrote 9 and 10 almost back to back, and it was 9. Episode 9 was kind of it was an action finale to the show where we meet the alien, and then 10 was the emotional finale where we just deal with the characters and one particular character's goodbye and so forth. And it was literally, they were kind of, you know, black and white in that regard, where I didn't want just 9 and 10 to be a bit of both. It had to be action in 9, emotional resolution in 10. There's a lot of visual effects in 9 with Emily and the alien, and it took our effects guy Alter Brett a lot of time to do that, where he's manipulating the face and putting a layer of veins on top of the face, which you have to do in 2 separate passes. So each shot has to be very heavily manipulated, and it has to be tweaked and finessed so it looks like it's real and it's happening on the day. It was a fun weekend because I think we shot it over a Saturday and a Sunday, both of the episodes, but we had a lot of extras in the tunnels, sat underneath Temple Meads train station in Bristol. And then that's where we see the alien probe that Dan Winter's character, Edward Coleridge, discovered in the opening of episode 5. So we're kind of bringing all that back. And it was a conscious decision in episode 5 not to see the full ship or to see the full probe. And then we'd save that for episode 9 so we have something to drip feed the audience with.
It was a real build-up of cast and crew. Suddenly, there were loads of people everywhere. And that made it really exciting because you know, if in doubt of something that you're doing, feed off other people. Wherever you looked, someone was giving you something as a performer to say, we're in a world of trouble here, and how are you going to help us out? So that really upped things. So for having gone from a quite a personal, emotional section, and it's exciting and intriguing, it suddenly became much more. I hesitate to use the word, but for me, I suppose it was epic, that it becomes much bigger. There's so many more people involved.
Episode 9 was great, actually. We had so many people on set. We had a lot of running up and down stairs, which was quite exhausting for me. And I think I swear Paul asked me to do it a couple more times just to really kind of push me to my limits. And
I think 9 was when you were most heavily pregnant, and I think actually there was a bit of a race against time to make 9 because we found that location, but then to find dates not only when they were available but when everyone was available, because we needed all of our cast, was really difficult, and it was getting closer and closer to, I guess, your cut off.
Yeah.
And we were like, we really need to get this done because otherwise
Paul,
Alyssa's going
you
to
have
have
to
a baby
put
and then we've lost her. So or she's going to be having the baby on set. But so anyway, we got it done in time. But it was a really cool location. You just couldn't recreate that, certainly on our budget, by building it anywhere. So the only way to have done that would have been to find somewhere like that. And so that's what's been great for all of season 1 and 2. Bristol Film Office, who helped us find all those places, you know, were fantastic at kind of giving us that production value where we couldn't necessarily build it ourselves. And then one of our biggest things, actually, from a set point of view, which we did put in for this one, was the alien probe.
Yeah.
So that was Will Shear, our designer, who made that for us.
Amazing. I was looking at it literally for the first half of the day, and I didn't even know what I was looking at. It just literally this load of rubble.
Yeah,
and then I realised, you know, what was actually under there when it kind of slowly gets revealed. And
that was another one of those classic things where you write it and then you're like, oh, yeah, we've got to build that. But then also it was a case of
get inside.
Putting it there. Yeah, and get inside. Yeah, it had to be practical that someone could step into it. We had to get all this other rubbish. Luckily, there's a lot of stuff down there, junk, old bits of wood that we could use, but we had to spend like half a day or the first part of the morning just filling that space.
It was a lot of work, and a lot of long days on those 2 shoots, wasn't it? I think we started at 8 and we finished at 11 on both days, I think.
Yeah, it was hard work. It was interesting, actually. So writing the sort of evil alien, because obviously we're like, well, okay, we've got this gas idea which we really liked, but you do still want to see something physically. But it's like, well, we can't necessarily do a full CG creature because what's that going to look like? Or do we do like full body makeup on someone? How are we going to make this work? And then we talked about the idea of, okay, what if the alien can take human form and maybe you see a glimpse of the real skin under its skin or something like that. So a bit like the Probe, actually, where part of it's buried in rubble, but you get an impression of a bigger ship. We thought, well, we can maybe do that with Evil Alien. So it's still satisfying and you still see something, but there's a hint of something bigger, which we're not seeing, and maybe your imagination will fill in the blanks. But then it was fun just to come up with, well, what could this thing look like in human form? And again, let's go opposite direction to what you would think. So, I don't know, rather than some big imposing guy, it's this young, innocent-looking girl. And Emily was someone that we knew already and wanted to work with, so like that's a perfect way to get her in. And so, we shot with her in episode 4 at the mortuary, but we only saw glimpses because it was quite nice to have the misdirection once you're in the tunnel of, well, we know the alien's in there, but who is it? And it was quite nice. There was a particular girl, Charlotte Hobbs, who was amongst our supporting artists that came along, and we thought, well, let's do a bit of misdirection here where we kind of keep focusing on her so that we think that's who's going to turn out to be the alien, but of course Emily. And it was tricky, I think, for her because obviously it's kind of weird, a bit like when you're doing a shootout and the muzzle flash gets added afterwards. She knows that in post we're going to change the sound of her roaring, we're going to add all this stuff to her face, but obviously on the day it's just her kind of going, and then all that stuff's going to come in post. But she was great at that, and the physicality, the way she moved was amazing, so that it's kind of got this otherworldly quality to it, but it's graceful at the same time.
And cool. Also, I think all credit to you and the other actors in the scene, like Dan Winter and Alicia Ainsworth, who are then reacting to that, and they genuinely look scared that is the threat. And never once did they go, well, I look silly or I feel silly in front of all these people, facing off against this young girl. They knew that by the time it come through to the end where we saw in the context we saw the alien, you could hear it. That's the level of performance that had to match. And I think all credit to our actors there. They threw their ego out the window and said, well, actually, I might look silly on the day, but I know how it's going to look for the final thing.
It was nice overall, actually. I felt everyone really committed just to the visual effects, because it is difficult sometimes when you're acting against a green screen. You think, first of all, is everyone looking in the same place at the same time? And also, is everyone giving the right size of reaction? You don't want to sort of be going, and then one person's kind of giving a really tiny reaction or something, so you have to kind of coordinate that. And everyone just fully committed to it. Everyone went big when we needed to go big, even though there's nothing there to actually go big about. So, that all worked really well, I think. There's a little bit of stunt work there when Emily hits me. I'm on sort of a springboard to make me go higher than I would normally if I just jumped, so that her hit then looks really powerful, that she propels me across the room. So that was fun to do and work out.
Yeah, and the coverage was fun, just as a director, just going, well, in order to keep this action fluid and we have to keep it exciting, and we have all these different elements coming on, we have to tell the story that the alien's attacking and this person's now on the floor over there, and then Stephen, who's played by Paul, is looking over that direction, and Dan's dealing with the alien. Supporting artists, how they reacting to it, so we see them running off in the background, and just kind of staging all of that, all in like dimly lit conditions, all in a condensed period of time. And it's just about getting that coverage, as well as being mindful of the visual effects, because Al wasn't there on the day, but just knowing that actually it's easier for him to do that shot of the alien's face on rather than turning to the side. It's nice keeping all those balls in the air and just making sure that you get all the elements for the edit and for the visual effects and to tell the story.
We then did the alien encounter, the bad alien encounter, which was great because suddenly we had a massive thing to immediately react to, as opposed to we've got a time pressure here. Suddenly it was like we've got an alien with a jaw hanging down and these claws ready to come for us. And quite lucky, really, because I wasn't one of the first people to have to do anything that was even remotely fighty. I did much more flighty stuff. I was just standing back, something's coming. It was all fun and action and exciting and energetic.
Filming in the tunnels with the alien attack was quite frantic because we had to wrap it up quite quickly, and our stunt guys had gone, and we'd done some of the stunt stuff with crash mats, which I had used to sleep on when it came to the character Stephen being attacked, no crash mats. So it's kind of like, well, he does need to kind of fall over, so let's just fall over. And we did about going on to 9 to 10 takes of me falling over onto the floor, which is just fine after 3 takes. Then you go, why did I suggest this? And you end up getting a little bit bruised, but it all helps at the end of the day.
Obviously, because we'd done season 1 and going into season 2, we'd built up a bit of resilience. We knew what the filming schedule was like.
Yeah.
But having all these people that had never worked with us before, they were so patient. Honestly, they were just kind of full of smiles and laughter. They were chatting amongst each other, and so I think from an actor's point of view, I think we really kind of tried to make an effort to, talk to them, involve them, and just be more personable to.
It's very easy to get in the zone when you're shooting. You just go, right, you go here, do this. Now we're going here. Which, when you're dealing with your main cast, is easy because everyone knows it. They know what they're doing. But of course, when you've got a whole bunch of new, it's a bit intimidating sometimes. It
is. Of
fair play
course.
to Paul who directed it, because it's sort of initially you walk in, you're like, oh god, okay, right. There's 25 extra
I've got
people
to
on
get
set
it right.
today. I've got to wrangle them, and then of course they might be talking for 2 takes, which is fair enough. But you've got to try and corral them all together and get what you need. So it was tough, but it was very exciting because doing scenes like that, it always just feels real. Like when we did the supermarket being looted last year or the car accident, when you've actually got all those people running around and all that stuff happening, it feels great to do, and
And
feels
real,
really real,
doesn't it?
but
It
it
does.
is obviously a challenge at the same time.